If you're enjoying this podcast to the point where you're inspired to make your own, first of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have you heard about Anchor by Spotify? It's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, friends and family, strangers and acquaintances, my future children, and my future self. I want to start out by giving a shout out to a dear friend of mine from high school. Let's call them Roy. They reached out to me after listening to the last entry, essentially saying that they loved the content and that it has become their comfort podcast. And to say that warmed my heart would truly be an understatement. That is one of my ultimate goals for this podcast. To have conversations that others enjoy, take inspiration from, or even just make them feel seen, heard, and comfortable. And while it would be great to have that effect on a large audience, it's still so incredibly rewarding to have that with a handful of dear friends. So Roy, if you're listening, thank you for listening. And like I said, I think you'll really enjoy this episode, which is about musicals. Lex and I have bonded over the years through our love of musicals. I want to pre-apologize because listening back to it while editing, at times I talk so fast that my words blend together and my mind is just working so fast my mouth can't keep up. I guess that just goes to show how passionate I am about this. But yeah, we go over how musicals have affected our lives and which musicals are our favorites. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's go all in. Curtains are closed. The house lights dim. Places, everybody. The sweeping overture begins. We are talking today about musicals.
Yes, we love musicals.
We love musicals. So I wanted to ask, what was sort of your, upbringing with musicals? How did you realize you liked them?
Well, I guess that at its core is like Disney made me like musicals, I guess you would say. Because that was really my introduction to musicals. Because I didn't have my parents weren't ever really super into musicals or anything.
Yeah.
Unless it was in a movie form. But even then, it wasn't ever explicitly been oh, this is a musical and we really like musicals.
Yeah.
It was always Disney, Lion King and Little Mermaid and Cinderella and all of those. I loved all that stuff.
They never took you to see a Broadway show or anything like that?
No, that was, we never went to see any Broadway stuff. I don't know if that was for they didn't want to, or it was just because Broadway's expensive and they didn't always have the money to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that was never really a conversation we had. Musicals were never really in the topic of conversation until I became interested in musicals.
Right. And that's a little bit of a difference between us. For me, it was really my dad who got me into musicals. He would show me The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
West Side Story.
Yeah.
He showed me The Wizard of Oz. That's a musical, right? It has a stage show?
I would say, yeah, The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Those were all core musical movies. Oh, he also showed me Jesus Christ Superstar.
I still haven't seen that.
The movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, he showed me that. And musicals have really just been somewhat of a core part of my childhood growing up, because like whenever we'd play music in the car, a lot of times it would be from those musicals, because like I don't know, my dad and I just liked it, and like I didn't find anything weird about that. I didn't find anything like not masculine about it. It was just like something we just enjoyed, and like, you know, it wasn't until I was older that I realized that, like, you know, that's how some people feel, that like, oh, you know,
Oh yeah.
musicals are for the gays.
I definitely got teased once or twice for liking show tunes.
And I don't even understand that, because I mean, you know, if we're talking in a traditional sense, like, you know, it's kind of more acceptable for girls to like musicals and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, but like, I know that, like, you know, guys, you know, have it a little harder. You're either gay or in the closet, or
Yeah.
one of those. I mean, I was not, obviously, but
Yeah, and obviously that's
I
not
just-
like
I just-
true, but
enjoyed the whole aspect of like singing and dancing, like, and breaking into
Yeah.
song, and
exactly, like it's lively and it's fun,
a lot of them had like really catchy tunes.
yeah, and like sometimes the messages are great. Like I think Rent has a great message.
Yeah.
You know, Wicked too, and just so there's so many good musicals that have like great messages.
I know. I think you showed me Rent,
Yeah,
because I mean, I heard about it before, but I had not like
Not seen it.
the movies. But now
yeah,
I know exactly how many seconds are in a year, right?
Yeah.
525,000.
Six-
Oh, minutes.
600 minutes.
600
yeah.
minutes. So I'm pretty sure the only musicals you've seen live have been with me, correct?
Yes,
Or have you gone to see a show and before, like you had met me?
no, there was besides like high school stuff for like junior high productions and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, no. We've only gone to Broadway shows together, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you, like, what shows have you seen live? But
It's the same shows that you've seen
it's-
live.
yeah, we've been together at
Yeah.
the same time. So
Yeah.
let's talk about Wicked. That was the first one we saw.
Yeah, Wicked was the first one we saw. That was a long time coming. I wanted to go to Wicked for so long, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
I still remember buying the tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like literally I bought them like in a mad dash because they were on sale, and then also I had class in like literally 5 minutes, so I had to buy them really quickly before they sold out.
And did they sell out?
They
like
did,
shortly
yeah,
afterwards?
yeah.
Oh man.
Like yeah, they didn't have any tickets after that 5 minutes, and I was like crazy how I got it. Like I really both of the times like that I went to shows, I didn't have the money that I spent, but I still bought the tickets anyway, and I didn't regret it.
Hey man, sometimes you just gotta chase the experiences, not the money.
Yeah, it's true. Like Wicked, like yeah, I didn't have the money, but I really wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we went, because like, yeah, again, it was a great show. Luckily, I hadn't been spoiled on really anything, so like I got to see like how it eventually connected to
The
the
Wizard
Wizard of Oz's story.
Yeah.
And then obviously like the big showstopper of a song, Defying
Flying
Gravity.
Yeah.
So good. I'm pretty sure it brought me to tears.
So good.
And I think
I think most musicals bring you to tears.
well,
though,
now
like live ones.
I've realized that that's something in me that probably will happen on a very regular occurrence.
Yeah.
Like seeing these shows live, whether it's like a Broadway production, off-Broadway production, or even like community theater, or even like high school shows, something in me is like moved when I see
Yeah.
these performances. And I think Defying Gravity was like one of the first times where like I felt that and I recognized that. I was like, oh wow, this is something magical. Like I don't know how to describe it other than like I was moved emotionally.
Yeah. That's understandable. I mean, that's kind of the aim, right? That's what they're going for. Like Broadway actors are like a different tier entirely, for sure.
Oh yeah. Comparing like Broadway shows and like high school shows, it's the same but different.
Yeah.
It's like
It's the same but different. Although I have been very impressed by some high school
yeah, I don't
high school actors, for sure.
yeah, I don't think the trope of like high school musicals are like kind of these run of the mill kind of like I don't know, stitched together type shows that's kind of just a hot mess. the high school I went to, and then the high schools around us that I've seen shows from. Like, all great, just great productions.
Oh yeah. Do you remember that like year? Well, it was I guess like season basically where we went around to like all the high schools and saw all the productions. That was so fun. That was like a lot of fun.
Fun fact: we went to, I forget what high school it was, but we are somewhat in the same area as where Gaten Matarazzo is from. If you don't know who that is, he plays Dustin from Stranger Things. And we actually saw him in a production of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So like we saw him live.
Yeah.
So
that was kind of awesome.
That was really cool. I think that was I don't know if that was the same year where we went around or.
I'm pretty sure it was the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the same year that we went around and did all the shows of every school.
Yeah. That makes sense. And
that was a lot of fun.
How to Succeed in Business was that was actually like the second time I had seen a production of that show, because my sister did it. I think the year after I graduated, so I was very familiar with the show and I really enjoyed it. But let's just go straight to the big question. Like, what are some of your favorite musicals?
Oh,
what do you
God.
like?
Wicked, Rent, Anastasia.
Let's talk about Anastasia, because
Yeah.
that was the other show we have seen live.
Yeah, Anastasia's amazing. Like that was
Broadway, right?
That was legit Broadway. Like we
NYC.
we were at Broadway. It wasn't just like a Broadway on tour situation. It was like we went to Broadway in New York City.
What was Wicked? Because we went to Philly to see that.
That was Wicked on tour.
Wicked on tour?
Yeah.
Okay.
We saw, which the touring Broadway cast and crew are great. Like
I mean,
they're top tier.
They're
Broadway
not
performers.
any less. For
no,
sure.
no, definitely not. But just more convenient because it was closer to where we live.
Yeah.
And usually a little bit less expensive.
Yeah.
But anyway, Anastasia, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, just I have such a love for Anastasia.
Yeah, I know you also like grew up on the movie.
Yeah, I loved the movie growing up. It was one of my favorites. And to see that become a musical is just like really a dream come true. Like just absolutely amazing. And this honestly never fails that if there's a movie that they make into a musical, I just love it 10 times more. Like, because they fill in the gaps of things. And particularly with Anastasia, they made it more true to like the history of what potentially could have happened if the real life Anastasia, like the real person, did survive. And being really into history, like I just really appreciated that. And they have, she has PTSD and like, it's a very like more realistic.
A grounded take.
Yeah, more grounded take.
Yeah.
And there's also like a high-ranking official who was the son of one of the soldiers that ended up killing the royal family. And so it's just like, that could have been a real person, like that. It's just a very interesting story and like such a good thing, such a good show on stage, like amazing.
Yeah, and let's talk about the story of like even going to see it, because we had tickets. Yeah, my
parents got me tickets for I think Christmas.
Yeah.
To see like months later.
Yeah. It was like sometime in the summer?
I think so. I think it was supposed to be in the summer.
It was supposed to be in the summer.
Yeah.
But do you remember what happened?
I think it got like canceled.
The show was closing.
The show was closing, and it was kind of abruptly.
Yeah.
The show was closing. Like our dates got canceled because the show was closing. Like, wasn't it? I forget exactly when we went.
I don't remember like the date when, but I just remember. Well, first of all, were your parents ever refunded for those original tickets?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
That's crazy because like we eventually got a different date.
Yeah.
And that date was like 1 or 2.
It was one day before it closed.
Right. Yeah.
One day.
So like
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, like we saw the penultimate show.
Yeah. It was insane. It was so good.
Yeah. And like as we said, this is Broadway now, whereas like again, no disrespect at all to touring casts and whatnot. They're definitely great. Definitely go see them. But we saw Christy Altamar. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but she is like the original Broadway cast of Anastasia.
Yeah.
And that was amazing.
Yeah, to see the original. Everybody was original, I think, except for Dimitri that night.
Yeah, I wish we saw. I don't remember
Derek
his name.
Klena, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Klena.
I knew it was Derek something. I wish we saw him, but the guy we saw was good too.
Yeah, he was still very good. But to see Christy, oh man, she was amazing.
And I just want to talk about my experience for a second because I'm a narcissist and I'll make everything about me. But
no.
But you had played these songs like in our car drives and
God, yeah, so many times.
I was
Repeat.
I was like familiar with them, but like I didn't really know the story. But then
this will be a theme, just so you know.
Oh yeah, Well, don't get ahead of me. We're getting there. Little preview. So I was somewhat familiar with the songs, but I didn't really like know like the story of Anastasia. But then there's a song in the beginning called "In My Dreams," and like hearing it obviously in the car recording is one thing, but then to see it being performed live and like you get this like sense of familiarity, and then like with the live music, like the orchestra there, and then someone's actually singing to you like on stage,
and like the facial expressions, and
yeah,
like the projection.
There's something about that where like I saw that and I wept.
Yeah,
I fucking wept. Like,
there were so many times during that
beautiful.
show I looked over at you and you were like crying.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, wow, I love this.
You know what I'm also randomly remembering? The seats we got were off to the side, and like we were kind of behind the pole.
Yeah.
So like half our vision was cut off.
Yeah. Still great though.
It was still great. Yeah, we were somewhat close still.
We were somewhat close to the stage, which was awesome, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't the best seats, but they weren't the worst seats. People definitely had worse seats than us. So
yeah. And then like I went from someone just being casually like aware of the Anastasia musical and the songs to I love this musical. Like I love the songs in it.
I feel like that's the best way to hook you onto a musical to
see it.
Go see it. Yeah.
Yeah, see it live, and then if you can, if you can afford it, even if you can't, support the arts.
Honestly,
go see it on Broadway. Go see, if you can't, go see a touring cast. Yeah, just support the arts. But let's talk about
the merch that I couldn't afford.
The what?
The merch that I couldn't afford.
Yes. Go ahead, take it away.
Well, being going to Wicked and not getting anything.
Did you regret that?
I definitely regretted that.
Okay.
So from now on, I will always try to buy something from like any show we go see. But yeah, I really regretted not buying something from Wicked. But we already spent so much money on the damn tickets that like I didn't have anything really to spend on merch. So for Anastasia, I definitely wanted to buy something, especially since like these tickets were like a gift.
Yeah.
And I was looking at all the stuff, and there was like I didn't really want a T-shirt. I didn't want anything like I'm not really big on like T-shirts or anything like that for stuff because it's like I'm probably just not gonna wear it, to be honest. And so I was looking and starting to see what I wanted, and they had the music box.
Yeah, so this is like a central item. To the story.
Of the story, and it was also in the movie as well. The music box was a big plot point.
And these kinds of props are like my favorite thing to get. If it's something like in the world of whatever it is, whether it's like a musical, a show, a movie, like I like having the physical thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And we were like waiting in line. I was looking, and that seemed really cool. I don't think we could see the prices, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like ask and see.
Well, we had gotten in line, and you undecided on what.
What we were even getting.
Yeah,
what we were even getting, and the line moved so quick.
So by the time, and I think you were kind of on the fence about. I think you were leaning towards the music box.
Yeah, I was leaning towards the music box.
And
sure.
Eventually, we're now at the front.
Yeah. And he was like, the guy was really, really nice, but he was like, speedy, like trying to make things move.
Yeah, we got to the front, and he's like, "Hi, how are you guys?" And we're like, "We're good." And he was like, "How can I help you or whatever?" And I think you said, who I don't remember who said anything about the music box. Was it you?
I said something about the music box. I think I asked how much. I think I asked do you have any more, and like how much is it? And he said, yes, we have some, and it's like $200.
Yeah, Yeah, music box, yes, $200. And then swipe, and
Yeah.
then it was over.
Yeah, it was
In
over.
the blink of an eye, we were just like, oh
Like, I
my
hadn't even
God.
made my decision 100% yet, but I pulled out my card and he took it and I was walking away with the music box.
And as we were walking away, it still felt like we were undecided on whether or not we wanted it.
And I was like so starstruck at the fact of like, did that really just happen? Like, did I really just pay $200?
It's like someone mugged us, and like we didn't
Yeah.
even feel it, but we got something out of it.
But I
So-
remember like it was in this like plastic. He put it in like a nice plastic bag and everything, and it was in a really nice box that I still have. And like I remember sitting down and be like, I have no regrets. And I was like, I don't have I like did not have the money for it. Like, and by did not have the money, I mean like I had like $250 in my account, and I spent $200 on the fucking music box. But I was like, worth it. And I still don't regret the decision.
Yeah.
I was like, some of my best purchases are made when I have like fucking no money. But yeah, but that was just such a cool thing because not only was it in the movie, it was in the musical, and it was really important. And it's just a cool, like a really cool piece to have.
Yeah.
And like, you're not going to find that, like again.
Yeah, no. I mean, maybe on eBay for like
Yeah.
3 times the price. Maybe. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But like to have like a genuine like replica of like what they used on stage is pretty cool.
Right. And where you got it and
Yeah.
how you got it. Like
It's a fun story.
You got a great story out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just a beautiful production. So nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed Anastasia, but I did want to get back to some of the other musicals that you were listing.
Yeah, there was Rent, and Rent's like one of those that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know you don't have like a super personal attachment to Rent, but I definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, Idina Menzel, first off. But also, it being like a musical largely about like queer issues, I think is like really cool. And just like underdogs in general.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of amazing. And Jonathan Larson is like, was amazing. And
Yeah.
like, there was like a movie like Tick Tick Boom.
Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yeah, which is also one of his works. But Lin-Manuel Miranda, who we'll talk about in a little bit probably,
Oh, yeah. We'll get to the man, the myth, the legend in a
was
second.
a director on it. And he
Oh, he was? I didn't even know that. I know he had a cameo in it.
Yeah,
we're
he
talking
was-
about the movie.
Yeah, I forget if he directed it or if he wrote the script for it. Either way, he was.
yes,
he was,
yes. I'm
he
trying
was
to remember.
very heavily involved in it.
Yeah, he played a big part.
And and Jonathan Larson, he cites as one of his biggest inspirations, like even going into theater, because he made Rent, and Rent was so different, like so different from any of the typical like it's like a rock musical, right? Like that was not something you did during the 90s, like very, very different from the traditional norm of musicals. To think that like Rent and like Jonathan Larson's like legacy hit so close to home is kind of insane, because we very well might not have Lin-Manuel Miranda as he
Yeah.
is today, or like Hamilton, or In the Heights,
Yeah.
or
And who knows-
Moana, or any of that.
Yeah, and who knows who else like he might have influenced.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the sort of the tragedy of his story and like Rent?
Oh yeah, like Rent is like pretty sad. Like in like the musical itself is equal parts like sad and uplifting, and like in equal measure. But the backstory a little bit behind it is, he Jonathan Larson like worked for a really, really long time to like make a musical happen. Make his musical happen, and eventually it turned into Rent is basically what happened. But this was like after years and years of trial and error and getting rejected and everything else. And he finally gets to have his like moment in the sun kind of thing. And what happens before opening night? He dies. So pretty awful. And he died from something that was like unfortunately preventable. And I forget the exact reason, something to do with his heart, I believe, but the crazy part about it is he went to the hospital. Like he really like was like, no, I'll be fine. Like, you know what a lot of people do. But then he finally went to the hospital and they said he was good. He was fine. Nothing to worry about. Turns out there was something to worry about because he died. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And that was literally opening night. And
so he
He never saw it. He never saw it come to fruition. He put all that pain and like blood, sweat, and tears into this musical and like literally never saw it. Insane. Damn. So sad too. But they still, like, you know, the show must go on. The show still went on.
And it went on to be a big hit.
Big hit, yeah. And you can still find clips of the original cast, like on that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're online. It's crazy to see, but everybody, you know, obviously very sad, very tragic.
Yeah, I can't imagine the mood, the emotions, like, on that night.
Yeah, and it just makes you wonder, like, what would have happened if he lived, because Rent was such a success. Like, what else would he have created? Like, would he have been like a Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Maybe.
You know, like, it's very possible. Ironically, he inspired Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, he walked so Lin could run.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think we've thrown around his name enough.
Oh,
Let's talk about Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Uh-huh.
God, what a fucking genius. Like that.
Yeah.
His mind, I'm just speechless.
Yeah, and my relationship with Hamilton is interesting because I, like, for a really long time was like, nah, I'm not going to be into that. I'm not going to like that. It's not really...
you were playing songs, like Hamilton songs, before I even knew what I was listening to.
Yeah. And because I made the conscious decision to be like, okay, I'm missing something. Like, I'm missing something. Because, like, everybody seems to love this. Why do they love it so much? And Hamilton had been out for like a while, maybe a year or two by this point. And I was like, the whole, like, you know, not. Well, meanwhile, so many people were being like, this is a great musical. You must listen to it.
I'm just going to interject 1 second. For the people who can't see me right now, which is everyone except you.
Oh, yeah.
What am I wrapped in right now?
The Hamilton blanket that I received as a Christmas gift.
Yes. I have completely usurped your blanket.
That literally is a blanket you use every night to sleep.
This is my main blanket that I sleep in. And
literally Hamilton.
Yeah. Hamilton is always wrapped around me.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's
soft.
how much we love Hamilton.
Yeah, but it's also so soft.
It is so soft. It's a really comfy blanket.
It's so comfy.
You get to look at Lin-Manuel's face.
Oh man, I see his face everywhere. That's not creepy. Anyway, back to if for some reason you're absolutely fucking lost, Lin-Manuel Miranda is the man who created the Hamilton the musical and also played Hamilton himself.
Yeah, he
to me he is Hamilton.
Well, yeah, basically, like, he pretty much is the embodiment of Hamilton as we know it, especially since it's like he's like part of the original cast. So
he is the original cast.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Hard to see Hamilton without him being Hamilton, but like I'm sure all the other actors are wonderful.
Yeah. So what would you say to people who maybe have not seen Hamilton and are just like, oh, what's all the hype about?
I would say give it a chance because it's like a very smart musical. So smart.
It is. I mean, in my opinion, it's a fucking masterpiece.
It really is. Like, first off, there's damn near no words spoken.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just songs. It's just lyrics.
You will know the entire story if you just listen to the songs in order.
There is literally, I think, 3 minutes of dialogue in the whole show.
Yeah, so you pretty much you can hear the whole show.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, you can watch it.
You can watch it. You can because they
you
have
can
a
see
very great filmed production of it on Disney Plus, and
yeah.
I know I've told you this before, but I feel like any show that's going off Broadway should have a Hamilton-like film production.
I 100%
done.
agree, because there are some shows that are so good that you cannot see otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think it's funny, like, Rent has that too. Rent has like a Broadway film situation, like Hamilton does.
I think Rent's a little different because they turned it into a film.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean Broadway. Like, they filmed the Broadway.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. There's
Okay.
Rent the movie, and there's Rent the Broadway production.
With the original cast?
With the original. I don't know if it's the original cast,
Okay.
but I know it's like the Broadway production
Okay.
filmed, just
So-
like Hamilton is.
Like on the we're watching them like on the stage,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah. I don't know if Rent was the first one to do that, but I know that it was the first one I personally ever saw.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and but they really should do that, because some of them are so good, and some of them are kind of underrated. Like The Wedding Singer, I feel like is incredibly underrated, and it's like, why don't you just make a fucking film it.
We will dedicate a section specifically to The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Trust me, we will get to that.
I also want to talk about during that section Legally Blonde, I think,
Okay.
because I want to talk about musicals that were movies that are now musicals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to bring up this concept later on. Musicals to film, then but also films to musicals.
Exactly.
But let's continue on with Hamilton. If you don't know, it is a lot of like hip hop and rapping, which you wouldn't think that about. One, a musical. Two, a musical about
The Founding Fathers.
yeah, the Founding Fathers.
Yeah.
And what was his title? Secretary
of Treasury, or
Yeah.
Treasury Secretary.
I never got that straight. Whatever Hamilton actually was, you wouldn't think that like you'd be seeing him like rapping with the Founding Fathers, having rap battles with George Washington as the host.
Yeah, it's so funny.
But believe me when I say it works, and it not only works, but it works exceptionally well.
It really does. It's kind of like a cultural phenomenon in a way that like everything seems to work in a way that just makes sense. And by all accounts, it shouldn't work, but it totally does.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's very, very, very weird that it all works so well together. But
it's weird in the best way possible.
Yeah, it's so expertly crafted, and I'm sure that there were many rewrites and rewrites and rewrites. Like, there's no way there wasn't. But the fact of the matter is, it's just like astounding how well everything fits together, and like not just that, but like the crafting of this like narrative of like Hamilton's life, and also like putting all that into song with like amazing like dances, and like just the set, and just everything is amazing, and the like costumes, so perfect.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of everything. There's moments of like pure comedy. There's moments
Definitely.
of pure like tragedy as well.
Yeah, definitely. Really like gut-wrenching like songs.
Especially, oh man, at the end, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's gonna get you.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned about the characterization of Hamilton. I love how his dynamic is put in contrast against Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
His character's sort of dynamic.
They're like
so you
foils for each other.
Yeah. You have Hamilton, who is like ambitious to a fault.
To a fault, yeah.
Versus Burr, who is hesitant to a fault.
Yeah,
Would
like
you say?
he would rather
Reserved.
Yeah, he would rather wait to see what happens and then make a move.
Wait for it.
Exactly. Where like Hamilton is like,
I'm not throwing away my shot.
yeah, he's very impulsive. And
yeah,
like
he's very like go-getter kind of.
And like Burr even talks about that in a lot of in like Wait for It too, that you know, he like
Hamilton doesn't hesitate.
Yeah, Hamilton doesn't hesitate. And like Hamilton seems to get everything that Burr wants, but then Hamilton is his own undoing eventually.
Yeah.
Like not only because of the ending and how things go down, but also because he makes really foolhardy mistakes for no other good reason besides ambition.
Right.
And hurts people around him needlessly because of that.
Yeah. I know I'm going a little bit out of order, but like, you know, I'm sure you're hearing me singing these songs. I just like to point out that, like, yes, I have a background in musical. Like, I did musicals all throughout high school. First musical I ever did was a musical called The Music Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the lead. I was Harold Hill. And that was in middle school. I think that was another, like, solidifying brick in the foundation of me liking musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up before I forget to mention it. But yeah, Hamilton is amazing.
Yeah,
go watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
or listen to it.
It's literally amazing. Like, we could honestly talk. We could have a whole podcast about just Hamilton.
I'm sure, like if you're on TikTok, like you've heard it, at least some of the songs.
Oh,
like
yeah,
some of the remixes.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's hard now to not go somewhere and hear Hamilton because, like, I know for a fact that Starbucks has it on a playlist.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. But yeah, Hamilton's amazing. So good.
It is.
Well worth the watch.
Yeah.
Well worth the listen. Well worth the money, I'm sure.
I mean, I don't know if it's still like this, but like, wasn't it at one point like $1,000?
At its peak? Yeah. If you want like center seats, yeah, it was like $1,000.
Shit.
But I don't think it's that expensive now.
That's good.
But yeah, at its peak, oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was mad expensive to see Hamilton.
Damn. But yeah, again, as you said, like, I'm sure it's worth it. Like, if you have that, it's going to be money well spent.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think I that's one thing that even though, like I've said before, that I don't usually have the money when I go to see these things, I never regret that decision. It's always 100% worth it to go and see a musical live, even if you've listened to it 1,000 times, even if you've watched the version on Disney Plus. There's something different about sitting there and being in the audience and like watching it happen right in front of your eyes. There's a magic to theater that only being there you can really recognize.
And and as good as like the film production of Hamilton was shot. It was so good. Like, the camera work was great. Yeah, there's still something like missing, where like that missing element of like being there live, like to experience it all like right in front of you.
Yeah. It's captivating.
It's something that is irreplaceable. Mm-hmm. So we've been talking about the film version that's on Disney Plus of Hamilton, but let's talk about when musicals are turned to films, and then vice versa when films are turned into musicals. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on it? What are some good examples, bad examples, etc., if there are any?
I think like when a film is turned into a musical, 9 times out of 10 the musical's better than the film. The Wedding Singer is a great example. Anastasia is another great example.
Oh yeah, I guess Anastasia is one.
Yeah, definitely. Because like it's interesting because like The Wedding Singer was not like a musical really.
Let's save The Wedding Singer for later.
Yeah, Anastasia was a musical, but the movie was a musical. It was a movie musical, but it wasn't a stage production first kind of thing. Legally Blonde is another one where it's like movie first then musical. Also better.
You think it's better?
Yes, I love Reese Witherspoon too, but like damn, the musical's much better. So good because musicals fill in the gaps that movies have. Mm-hmm. Movies suffer from you can only have so much time, and you kind of have the same thing with stage productions, but you typically think a musical, like a stage production of a musical, is going to be much longer than a movie. Movie might be hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, but a musical could be like, over that, 2.5 hours. They can just they have more time to expand.
Yeah. Plus, like it's so long, it needs an intermission.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time. Hamilton had 3, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Or 2 intermissions.
Yeah.
Had 3 parts and then 2 intermissions, I think.
Yeah.
But what about when a musical is turned into a film, kind of like Rent.
I think the opposite in some ways, and Rent is a great example that there's a lot lost because Rent's movie is great, but there is a shit ton of content that is not in the movie because they just simply can't fit it.
Right.
So you lose a lot of characterization, you lose a lot of like the lyricism, and you lose a lot of like sometimes characters. You lose literal characters in the cutting for film. And that's kind of the downside, I would say, of filming, like from a musical stage production to like a movie musical.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other ones that are like movie musicals.
You know what I think is, I hate to say it, not the best example, but I saw a production of...
I think I know where you're going.
Go ahead.
Shrek?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, rough.
Listen, I mean, like the movie now is like a somewhat of an iconic meme
Yeah.
right now. So we kind of like hold it to a certain standard.
Yeah.
But the musical was fine. I just wasn't. I don't know. I can't really remember any songs from it other than the song that like you expect to hear from it, which is I'm a believer.
All
and
Stars.
Then I saw her face. Oh, was that in the musical?
What?
All Star?
I thought. Oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe not.
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me.
I don't know. I can't remember. Honestly, I cannot remember. If it wasn't, it should have been.
Yeah. But I know the ending was like, oh, finally, I'm getting something familiar. I mean, not that I was like waiting for it, but like it was something that's just like, oh, okay. It was it ended on the high note, I would say.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't remember much of that. I remember being bored, like watching it, which is very bad. Yeah, I think some movies lend themselves better to musicals than others do. I think Shrek is a good example of like a bad like transition from a movie to a musical.
Yeah. Now, one of your favorite movies is Pretty Woman.
Yes.
And that was turned into a musical. And you said you don't like it? I
don't like it. It suffers from the Shrek phenomenon where it's like kind of just not memorable, which is unfortunate because I love Pretty Woman, but like they didn't do it. They didn't. I don't think they did it. Maybe I'd feel different if I actually watched it, but I've just listened to the music and
you weren't thrilled.
It doesn't hit. It doesn't hit for me at all. Like you can only listen to stuff so many times that you don't like, and it's a shame because I think it could have had potential, but I think Shrek could have had potential too. I just something about it doesn't work.
How do you feel about TV productions of live performances? Like
I think it's fine.
Like I remember Grease did one.
Grease, yeah.
The Sound of Music did one.
Hairspray.
Oh yeah, Hairspray did one.
Little Mermaid.
They did one?
Mm-hmm. Alihi Kavaho, I think.
Yeah. She was Ariel.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I remember seeing that news and thinking, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I like them. I think they're fun. I don't think they're they're I think they're meant to be a little bit more campy.
Rent did one.
Yeah, Rent did one. Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, like the original Broadway cast came on. That was a really cool moment.
It's really cool. But yeah, I think they're supposed to be a little bit more campy, kind of fun. I like them. I think they're kind of a good way to like introduce people potentially to musicals that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise gone to see, or maybe you haven't seen like a stage performance of it. I think that's kind of cool.
Let's talk a little bit about kind of a hybrid between worlds, which I'm referring to the Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
Because you have the... What came first? It was the movie?
Yeah.
Like the original like animated movie, right? Did the stage play come before that?
I'm pretty sure it was the movie. I mean, if you want to be real technical, it was a fairy tale, but Disney-fied in the Disney universe.
Okay, yeah. We don't have to go that far.
It's like... Yeah, it was the movie.
Yeah, so then you have the animated movie, which then got... I think then turned into, at one point, a musical, like a stage musical. And then you have the live action remake.
Yeah. A lot of things do that too. Like Lion King did that. Lion King has a stage musical. Lion King also has a live action, air quotes.
Yeah,
you know? So Disney does that for sure. I think they're fine too. I like them generally. I feel like the live actions are hit or miss, to be honest. Sometimes they're really great and sometimes they're utter trash, but you know, it is what it is. It's a mixed bag. I feel like similarly with when a movie gets turned into a musical, a lot of times when they do it well anyway, it's expanded upon. Like you expand upon the lore of like what's going on, or you fill in the gaps of what the story, you know, things about the story. Yeah, I really like that when they do that.
I'm so happy Emma Watson was Belle, just because.
You love Emma Watson.
She's my celebrity crush. I love her. But yeah.
It's funny because like initially I wasn't like not thrilled that Emma Watson was Belle. But I wasn't also like super thrilled that she was Belle. I think from a character standpoint, like who Emma Watson kind of lets us see like of herself anyway, she seems like she does fit like Belle as personality wise.
To me, she is the beauty.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. But yeah, ultimately I love Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was a beautiful adaptation of...
Yeah, and I really liked how they expanded on a lot of things.
Yeah, that's ideally what I would prefer. Like Cinderella did that too. Cinderella was great.
Yeah.
That one I think is underrated.
Is Cinderella a stage musical? Does it have one?
I want to say yes, but I'm not 100% sure.
I feel like it would.
I feel like it does have one.
I also don't see it.
But also Cinderella is kind of just in general. Like Cinderella is simultaneously overrated and underrated.
Would you say Cinderella is like what Superman is to comics, Cinderella is to princesses?
Pretty much. Like everyone kind of knows Cinderella and it's been remade 10,000 times. But like when it comes like to the Disney live action, it's definitely not talked about nearly as much as Beauty and the Beast was. But I think maybe because like Beauty and the Beast did have Emma Watson, so that was probably a big like selling point for a lot of people.
Yeah, and fucking Josh Gad was great as.
Josh Gad was hysterical.
LeFou. Is that his name?
I honestly liked him as LeFou way better than Olaf or like any of those. Yeah. Way better. I mean, I'm sure Josh Gad really enjoys playing Olaf because a lot of it's ad lib, you know. It's like I feel like that's must be a fun role. But in terms of like, nobody could have played it as well as him. Like LeFou was great. Luke Evans was great as Gaston.
Yeah.
He was perfect. He was a perfect like you kind of felt like you felt bad for him a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, he's kind of charming in a way where like I kind of want to root for him. Yeah,
like he was, because in any other Disney movie you would have rooted for him.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
like I think that's kind of interesting how Disney, in a little bit, at least in the live action, turn it on its head.
I think. Well, I don't know if that was just on purpose or if that's just Luke Evans just being Luke Evans
and like adding to the character. But
I remember like seeing some people say that like, oh, Gaston is scarier now because he's an actual human, and I'm just like, comparing to like the animated movie, the animated Gaston's way bigger of a dick.
Yeah, I feel like animated Gaston has no redeeming qualities.
And live action Gaston, I'm just like, I mean,
you're more of a human.
He's rough
somehow.
around the edges, but like,
yeah,
I feel like, you know, someone like Belle could turn him into like, you know,
like a decent human.
Decent man.
Yeah, a decent person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seemed like not entirely. It seemed a little bit less in the live action that he just wanted her as a trophy. Yeah. Where like in the animated version, it very much is obvious that he just cares about her beauty, and like she is quite literally a trophy wife to him, not like an actual human.
Yeah.
And like he's not perfect, obviously, like in the live action either, but like he's better, you know.
Yeah.
He seems a bit more like he could be a real person walking down the street, not like a caricature.
Yeah.
What do you think of like movies that are like kind of hybrids like that?
well, that and Lion King are like the only two I can think of that kind of fit the same
bill.
criteria.
Well, Little Mermaid is getting there.
Oh yeah, that'll be that's the one coming up. That's actually pretty relevant right now because the time we're recording this, the live action trailer, or I guess it's a teaser, dropped maybe a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And Halle Bailey, not Barry, do not mistake that.
Despite what some Twitter users think.
Oh God, Twitter. Was just sort of has debuted as Ariel, and obviously, like, the fucking racists are out there, like, creating backlash, but then simultaneously being like trying to like use science to prove why Ariel wouldn't be like black, and it's just like just say you don't like black people. Yeah. Just say it. Yeah, it'll be easier.
Some of the hoops that people jump through, like instead of like questioning, why is she black? Maybe be like, well, why can't she be black?
Yeah, and then people be like, well, scientifically speaking,
scientifically speaking, she's a fucking mermaid.
A fucking mermaid. There's no science with mermaids. They don't exist.
This is a fictional character who is being well represented now as a black woman. So that's perfectly acceptable.
People were pointing out, being like, yeah, but you know for sure that Sebastian's Jamaican or something like that.
Oh yeah, because of the accent.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know why people are giving backlash about this, other than the fact that internalized racism.
Yeah, and I mean I understand it. Like I get, like I'm not surprised that people are.
Yeah, I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like I'm not surprised. Like would I like to say that no one's gonna have a problem with it, but that doesn't happen. That never happens. People
whatever.
Always,
it's worth.
Yeah,
it's worth seeing those reactions. The ones we've seen on TikTok where you'll have like a little black girl, a little brown girl, and then like get excited to see that Ariel looks like her.
Yeah, because like you see yourself in that. That's so important to like see yourself in media. Yeah, and like I told you this, like going a little bit off topic, but that I would like love to have more queer representation. And so to see like these little like black and brown girls like be really happy about having like a Disney princess that looks like them, like is amazing. I love that for them. Like that's so wholesome and so sweet, and they deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely they do. I know we kind of moved on from Hamilton, but I just want to bring up another great thing about Hamilton. It's like the cast is like 90% colored actors and actresses.
Yeah, people of color. Yeah.
Yeah. And which is great because, like, I mean, even me, I when I initially heard about Hamilton and I saw the guy who was playing him, Lin-Manuel Miranda, I was like, he doesn't really look like Alexander Hamilton. The guy in the $10 bill, right? I don't know if I see it. And, Aaron Burr is played by the great Leslie Odom Jr. Mm-hmm. Great, Black Broadway singer, actor, just great guy overall. And Lin-Manuel said it best, and I'm definitely going to butcher it, but he said something along the lines of, this is the story of America told by what America looks like today. Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember the exact quote, but it had that meaning. So, and that's just, to me, revolutionary. Yeah.
And I mean, that kind of brings to mind the line in Hamilton where Hamilton's like, where even orphan immigrants can leave their fingerprints.
Yeah.
And that's like, that is what America sells, right? That you can have this dream, that immigrants can have this dream, that anybody can have this dream if they work hard enough. That's ultimately like, you can agree or disagree with that statement, but I think what Lin-Manuel says in Hamilton does resonate, like that anybody can and should be able to be successful despite their background, despite the color of their skin, despite, like really anything. Like orientation, disability. Like you deserve the right to a good life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that is incredibly important. Like, and Hamilton does a great thing where you're telling a history of a nation that is very, very, very white.
Mm-hmm.
Very white.
Mm-hmm.
And fuck that. And Hamilton just goes to show that, like, you don't need to have the people look exactly like their historical counterparts to tell not only a historical story, but a good one.
Right. Exactly.
Bridgerton does that really well too.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, now we're sort of getting off the topic of musicals, but yes. Bridgerton is great because
There is a Bridgerton musical, even though it's unofficial.
Shit, there is.
So it's still on topic.
It all ties together. Yes. Oh,
that's very good too, by the way. Also, a female-led production completely.
Just 2 females, right?
Yeah.
The entire thing, all parts.
Yep, really good.
Great.
Amazing. And a TikTok musical at that.
I know. Oh,
so crazy.
TikTok is revolutionary.
It honestly is so good. So different.
I used to hold out for Vine being like, well, Vine, you had to get creative for 6 seconds. But no, TikTok has more than surpassed Vine. But anyway, yeah, just briefly talking about Bridgerton, like, it's just great how, like, yeah, there's lots of, like, color people, and it's, like, not even, like, weird at all. It's just, like, accepted and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then that's the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
absolutely the way it should be.
I like Bridgerton's take on it, because Hamilton's a bit different. They're, like, playing with, like, the fact that it's a historical situation, sure, and, like, they are telling a historical story, sure, but that doesn't mean that, like, you need to have, like, the actors look like these people. Bridgerton's a bit different, where it's like, this is, like, more of, like, an alternate timeline where, like, the British aristocracy, or I guess, like, the aristocracy, like, in this, wherever Bridgerton takes place, I guess it is England, if race didn't matter, basically, if racial, like, diversity was already a thing, everybody already accepted it, and it was already, people were already integrated into society, and there was no slavery. That's basically what Bridgerton is, like an alternate universe.
Yeah.
And I guess if you wanted to, you could look at Hamilton like that too.
You know, here's another way it kind of ties in. King George.
Oh, King George
is in both universes.
He is in both universes.
You'll be back.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Soon you'll see.
Hamilton is pre-Crazy George, and Bridgerton is Crazy George.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, losing his mind. Unfortunately.
He's such a character in Hamilton, though. Oh,
he really is. He's
God.
Hysterical in Hamilton.
Yeah.
A true caricature for sure, but very funny.
Yeah.
But very, very funny. Like, he just steals the fucking show. Like, whenever he's on. Like, the 2 songs he sings.
Yeah.
But it's just great.
Oh, and then this is something you don't know if you're just listening to the songs, but, like, there's one scene where, like, he, like, stays on stage after his song, kind of just watches what's going on in the scene, kind of breaking, like, not the 4th wall, it's like the 3rd and a half wall.
Yeah.
As he's, like, watching, like, the scene, but technically he wouldn't be there. Anyway.
Yeah, like, he wouldn't in reality have a way to even see that, what's happening, but
so
kind of funny.
That was just really cool. Another genius thing by Lin-Manuel Miranda. But yes, we were originally talking about Little Mermaid, Halle Bailey as Ariel, and how just representation matters.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. There needs to be more of it. Like, I feel like it's kind of crazy we're in 2022 and this is still a problem. Like, it's not great, but I know it is what it is. It's like, you just hope we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But I hope that they do that with more of the princesses, honestly. Like, especially, I think Ariel's a good place to do it because, yeah, she is a mermaid. Like, she doesn't need to be white. Like, that's fine.
You try to do that with Mulan, that might not make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because that culturally, like,
because the culture is part of the story.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is true. Like, if they try to do that with Mulan, I think that would be like, it would take you out of it because it's like, well, they're in China and this is like a story about a girl who is very rooted in Chinese culture, and, you know, like, I feel like it would make less sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more than excited for Halle Bailey to just knock it out of the park as Ariel.
Oh yeah, me too. I can't wait. I think it's gonna be great. It's so good. Like just the teaser trailer alone looked beautiful, and like her singing voice is beautiful. Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, crazy, so good. I can't wait to like see how everybody else looks.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be so good.
Oh, another crossover. So I think, I read the IMDb. Lin-Manuel Miranda may have a cameo, maybe voicing someone.
That'd be amazing.
The guy voicing Sebastian, I believe, is Daveed Diggs, who plays Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton and Lafayette in Hamilton.
Yes. Yeah, he's a double role.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so good. And like Daveed Diggs is just so good.
The crossovers, man.
Yeah, the crossovers are amazing. And his singing is amazing.
Yeah.
And like I really love how Lin-Manuel is just game for whatever. He's just like, yeah, sure, I'll voice whatever you need me to voice. Like I just love that. I would love, this is just like me speculating, and like would love if he was, but the chef in Little Mermaid, where he's like cooking up Sebastian, and he's like,
wait, I think when I read the IMDb that's who he was. I couldn't remember it off the top of my head, but now that you're saying the chef,
oh man, if that's true, I think he'd be great for that.
that might just be it.
That's who instantly came to mind. Like what? Because I'm just like, that's perfect. Like I could totally see him doing that.
I'm gonna fact check it right now and see. Lin-Manuel Miranda is listed as Chef Lewis, rumored.
Oh my God!
So it's not confirmed.
Oh my God, that's perfect, because I literally didn't even know that, and I said that because it just makes, I don't know why, like. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense because, Lin-Manuel's not French, but like I could just see him doing a good job.
I could see him, yeah.
I feel like he could do well in that role, just because it's so, it's very like flamboyant almost, and like because like the character is very lends himself very easily to like musicals. Yeah. So I think it just fits that Lin-Manuel would do that. That's great.
You know who Ursula is?
Who?
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, she's going to be great.
But yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to take you a little bit on a different turn now.
That's okay.
Let's talk about kind of a modern take on musicals. La La Land.
La La Land. La La Land is a movie that I wish would be made into a stage musical.
Yes.
Like...
Perfectly put.
Desperately would want that. Like if I had the money, I would fund that.
Yes.
Like I would totally do that. I'd be like,
more songs. Come on, give us more Sebastian and Mia. Oh.
Yeah, it was so good. Like
City of Stars.
Yeah, like that in and of itself was very like magical. Like movies have like their own like kind of magic, but they somehow blended movie magic and like stage magic.
Yes.
To make it somehow like both. I don't know. It just
that's a hybrid in its own.
Yeah.
La La
exactly.
Land.
And I love the name, like La La Land, like because it has so many meanings. Like La La Land, like they're in LA, and then La La Land, like it's like where all the crazy people are, and all like the this is where all
also,
the
like,
Fruit Loops and whatever.
Well, I'm gonna hopefully spin it more positively, but also say La La Land could be like the place of dreams.
Exactly.
But yeah, I do think La La Land should be a stage musical.
I would love that.
I feel like it has like the bones for it.
It really does. It definitely does. And that is actually where if they were to do it differently, like if they were going to say like do an alternate ending, I would be pretty open to that. Because
the ending is quite...
Yeah. I personally love the ending of La La Land.
I like it too, even though it hurts.
Yeah, it definitely hurts, but I respect it. Yeah, I respect it. And I also kind of enjoy that it was more realistic because, a lot of... It's interesting juxtaposition, right? Because they're in La La Land and the place of dreams.
Yeah, it really is in a lot of ways like... self-aware and is kind of flipping like Hollywood on its head. Yeah. In a way where it's just like there's like a part in the movie where like you can decide that was it. That was the happy ending. You're done. We're good. Or you can like watch the rest of the movie where the happy ending was still there, but it doesn't look like the traditional Hollywood ending.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the traditional Hollywood ending. And it happens differently than what you may have expected from the movie. Yeah.
Right. So it's really like challenging that Hollywood idea of like, every story has a happy ending and whatnot. Which, I mean, you just have to respect.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that like a lot of people didn't like it for that reason, like for the whole like ending of it all, and I get it, like movies are supposed to be like escapism, right? But I feel like not every movie needs to be that.
Yeah, I mean, there are tragedies and whatnot where like, that's not really one you don't really watch tragedies to escape.
Yeah.
From, well, I guess you could.
Reality. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could if that was your deal. I feel like most people don't, though.
You escape one tragedy by going to another.
Yeah. Or maybe it's as simple as Misery Loves Company.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you're sad, you listen to sad songs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, La La Land is a musical. So good. So, like, different. I wish more movies kind of did what La La Land did, but then I don't know if that would make La La Land less special.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, does it cheapen it? But
I don't know, because here's another one. The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
So I never saw it, but when I saw the
really
trailer,
like
I thought it may be La
La Land-esque.
Yes, La La Land-esque, and I don't know if that's true or not.
I love the songs from it.
Yeah, I've heard a few and they're good. I don't feel like they had the same impact that was like La La Land. I don't know if you agree with that. Because La La Land, like,
I would say that like it's not a comparison.
Okay, it's not. Okay.
I would say it's you
Apples to
can't.
oranges or whatever.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay.
I would say personally that La La Land songs are wonderful and amazing and definitely work very well with the film. But I would say like, at least from the songs I've seen of The Greatest Showman without actually seeing the whole movie, I like the songs a lot.
Okay.
From The Greatest Showman. Because The Greatest Showman focuses a lot on like being outsiders and like, it's like, it's very like relatable.
Yeah.
Like a very relatable situation.
Yeah.
To, and like falling in love, but then it not being the right time or, that whole thing. It's very relatable.
Yeah. Very grounded.
Yeah. And as grounded as you can be in a circus. But
yeah.
I just think it's a different take.
So the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix is getting a sequel, I believe, and it is rumored to be a musical.
Yeah, I do remember hearing this.
Is interesting.
That's very interesting. Why do I picture this as like first off, I don't think the Joker needed a sequel. But I think that I could picture this as this whole musical, it's oh man, I forget the name of it. But it's a show, I think it's on Netflix, where it's like in her head it's a musical, but in real life obviously it's not happening, it's not a musical.
Oh.
But like in her head everything she's doing is like a musical number. I think it's going to be like that, but like for the Joker, like nothing in real life is actually happening in musical format, but like in his head, everything's a musical.
Yeah.
Like I can totally see that happening.
Yeah, that would be an interesting way to do it.
Because it adds to the psychosis
yes.
of the Joker.
Yes.
Like he's already kind of out of his mind and make him leave.
And I mean, like we already love like the dance scenes from the original one where he's like on the stairs.
Yeah. Those are like wonderful and like also heart-wrenching.
Yeah, because that like
like
at face value the scene is like somewhat upbeat, but like the underlying tones of like
mental illness and
and like just the
tragedy of
like the context and
the context is like that's a hard watch for sure, but good movie.
Yeah.
But
great.
If it's a sequel and it's a musical, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, and who's Harley Quinn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Lady Gaga.
I kind of love that. I know people like kind of hated on that,
I think it's great.
but I think it makes sense.
I think it'd be cool to see her take on Harley
Yeah,
Quinn.
I think it would be too. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, especially like this is kind of going back to Lady Gaga's like roots
Yeah.
a little bit, like of her like kind of interesting like outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that could be very interesting. Yeah, definitely a very interesting situation.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I do agree that like I didn't think the Joker needed a sequel, but so far I'm liking what I'm hearing of what is to come of the sequel. So
I think if they do it well, it'll be good.
Yeah,
Like, it'll be
yeah.
good.
all right, I've been pushing it, but I think it's time. Let's talk about The Wedding Singer. So the reason I pushed it back this far is because I wanted to dedicate the correct amount of like time and give it the respect it deserves in a way that matches my absolute admiration for it. So I didn't see The Wedding Singer, the movie by Adam Sandler, until I was a senior in high school, and that was because my high school was doing The Wedding Singer, the musical, as our stage musical. So I was like, okay. I was very into like drama club and like the musical, so I was like, so the source material is based on this movie with Adam Sandler. I don't see why I wouldn't watch it. I'm sure I would have a good time. I watched it, I enjoyed it, and it was great. And then I did the show. I played in the beginning. There's a groom. I played him. Later on the show, there is I think this might just be the musical version. There are two gay waiters that eventually get engaged in a restaurant where everyone's getting engaged. I played one of the gay waiters. I then later on played, quote unquote, one of the freaks in Table 9, specifically a character, bad haircut guy. and then just some various other like sort of little roles, but like I think because I was a senior, B, kind of one of like the only like guys who like could dance, like dance was kind of my thing. I was featured a lot, even though I didn't have a lead role of any sorts. But yeah, since this show was my senior year show, that on top of how much I actually just love like the context of the show, like the songs and like the story, just was kind of the perfect storm for me to really like it. The amount of sentimental value it has for me is just through the roof. I love it so much. It brings me such nostalgia from my high school years. But also just like the show itself is very much a reflection of me. Because like one of the lyrics is in the opening song and throughout is the guy Robbie Hart sings, "Love is what I do," and I do feel like growing up like I was kind of like this like hopeless romantic, and like I was I really like romance. I love rom-coms.
Yeah.
I love was kind of what I did.
Yeah.
Amongst the many other things that I did. But yeah, I just thought so many things about this musical are also kind of like weirdly like connected to me. One, it takes place in New Jersey.
Yeah.
We're from New Jersey.
It is very weirdly connected to you.
Yeah. It's a musical set in the 80s, which
You love the 80s.
I love the 80s specifically because Michael Jackson is my biggest creative influence. And there's lots of references to like Michael Jackson in like the musical. Well, if you've seen the movie, you know, Sammy wears a Beat It jacket and then like moonwalks with the guy in the bar. But then like in like the musical, the stage musical, there's a whole section in one of the songs where like they're doing the straight up Thriller dance.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, this was another weird connection that's it's like tied to me. And I think even one of the weirder
this is the weirdest connection.
You know what I'm gonna say?
I know what you're gonna say.
There's even some Tagalog in there, some
Yeah.
Filipino. That's a Filipino language.
That's the thing that blew my
because
mind when you told me.
They had,
I was
yeah.
like, how?
It's like there's like a scene like so. Here's some of the changes from the movie to the stage musical. Like in the movie, you had Billy Idol, I believe.
Yeah, it was Billy Idol.
When really
on the plane.
Oh yeah, it's on the plane. But in the stage musical, none of that plane stuff happens. They actually land in Vegas, and that's where you see a bunch of impersonators, quote unquote. You got
Yeah, that's hysterical.
well, you had a Billy Idol impersonator. But I'm gonna divert for a second. The whole reason I want to do this episode was because we recently saw The Wedding Singer again at a community theater near us, and they made a change that when I saw it, my jaw dropped because I just was not expecting it. I know this musical almost inside out. Instead of a Billy Idol impersonator, they had a Michael Jackson impersonator. I was like, no way you just did that. No way, because like. Again, I was not expecting it. I know the show, and it's going to be a Billy Idol impersonator. You have other impersonators there. You got a Mr. T impersonator. You got Tina Turner. Tina Turner. You got Ronald Reagan. And then here's where like the Filipino comes in, and Imelda Marcos, who, and this is where like I'm going to be a really bad Filipino. I think she was once our president. I don't know, but. She makes an appearance, so I'm sure she was important. Anyway,
what did she say in it? It's like something about. Like,
so it's funny because like I've also like been a little stumped at like what she was trying to say, but like I believe she's just asking like, "Hey, where's the bathroom?" That's what she says in Tagalog. Nasaan yung banyo ninyo?
Nice.
And then the very next lyric is like, for those of you who speak Filipino, you know that things ended up the way they should. Which really only the people in the Philippines like get that.
Get that joke.
Get that joke.
Yeah. It's just so random that that's in there. Like
I know.
Like I want to know whose idea that was.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of ways it's connected to me, strange or not, and it just represents a lot. It was probably I would say before meeting you, this was like one of the happiest times I had been in my life because like I was living it up senior year, and I loved my graduating class. I have a very very positive high school experience, and I may be biased, but like I'm pretty sure a lot of the graduating class that year was some of the big heavy hitter like big musical people where like like the class after us, they had some great people too, but like I really like someone I'm thinking of is like these two girls that were like always double casted as the leads, but they were in the same graduating class as me, so it's like once they're gone, like
who's gonna be your double cast now?
Yeah, they're out of the well, maybe that opens up opportunity, but
I mean it probably does. I'm sure.
I thought we had such a great class of shout out class of 2013. If you're part of that class, hell yeah. Class of 2013 specifically from my high school had a great class as far as musicals go. And ended up doing it a few years later in a community theater near me, which was also great. It was fun to relive that. Wasn't really the same as like experiencing it with all my high school friends, but it was still great. And spoiler alert, if and when you and I get married, I have this dream of me performing the I kind of want to do like a mashup of like the first and last song, because it's kind of the same song. The last song is kind of like a reprise, and it's a song called "It's Your Wedding Day," and part of the song goes, So when it's your wedding day and my music starts to play, I can guarantee that love will find you. And like I want to like, obviously on our wedding it'll be like my wedding day, so I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
so
Spoiler
when
alert,
it's my wedding day,
We also want a musical themed
all our
wedding.
problems
So
melt away. Oh, what was that?
we want a musical themed wedding, so it makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's one of the things we were throwing around. That
would
be
just
so
be
cool.
a dream.
Yeah, like I kind of wish I was Fuck You Rich, like so fuck you money
yeah.
to like just
Same.
hire like a live orchestra, maybe rent out an auditorium.
Yes. Would love that.
Oh,
Would love that. So cool. We get
Yeah.
married on stage.
bro! Oh my god, I want that. Don't
That'd be so
play
fucking
with me.
cool.
Oh,
I mean, there's already an aisle.
I know, right? Stop.
It's all coming together, Juan.
Oh my god. Oh, my heart. But yeah, I love The Wedding Singer. Oh, and if you look up many like videos with like Adam Sandler, like kind of like going on like the Tonight Show with like Jimmy Fallon, like if sometimes he'll be with Drew Barrymore and like he'll sing a version of Grow Old with You, and that always gets me. I think in
It's a
some
good
of his live shows, I think he does a version of Grow Old with You, where he thanks audience for growing old with him.
Yeah, I
which
remember
also
that.
gets me. He's coming to Atlantic City, I think next month, and I want to go, but I hope. I don't know. Tickets might be just too much. It just might not be.
Yeah, it might not be in
Even
the
though
cards.
earlier we had that conversation about how like you didn't have the money, but it's okay. Like I don't regret the experience.
I literally don't recommend doing that, but like, it's true though. Like, I never regretted the
don't
decision.
do it, but do it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, for real. It's like if it's a show like that you feel like you really, really, really want to see, and it's the second to last night of closing, yeah, go. Figure it out. Because it's definitely worth it. I definitely think it was worth it.
Yeah. As we were talking about before, I do wish The Wedding Singer, the Broadway version, had something like what Hamilton had.
Yeah.
Where it was filmed and like filmed well, and because like it's off Broadway now, and like I don't know if anywhere except like maybe like high schools and community theaters do it anymore.
Which is a shame because it is a really good musical, and I think it would be nice to have like a Broadway cast do it.
Yeah.
Like professionals do it.
Yeah. And I wish here's another weird crossover. I wish I got to see the original Broadway cast because the guy who plays Robbie Hart
Oh, yes.
is Stephen Lynch, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Because Stephen Lynch from his own material.
Yeah, his
whereas
comedy.
I solely knew him from as like The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
And then so like our worlds combined that way.
Yeah, it was really weird when because we were probably listening to one of the songs, and you're like, "This is Stephen Lynch," and I'm just like, "Yeah, like I really like
oh my
his
god,
comedy."
he's a Wedding Singer.
And I was like, "What? I didn't know that." And it just collided that way. It was very weird. Yeah. Weird crossover there.
But I do think he is like the best choice for a stage musical Robbie Hart.
Especially like what is it, I don't know what the title is, but Somebody Kill Me Please, is that the title?
Oh yeah. Somebody kill me please.
Yeah, because like that is like that's basically his comedy too in a nutshell.
90s. Yeah, that is his comedy.
It's basically his comedy. It's just like perfect.
Yeah.
You are like the literal perfect person.
Oh man, if you guys want to hear his kind of comedy, and this is quite appropriate to the time that this is going to be released, look up his song about Halloween.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh man, you're in.
Yeah. Like,
you're in for a treat.
Yeah, and a lot of his stuff like isn't like PC.
No.
For sure, definitely not, but it's it's comedy, so it's like suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, it's like he might.
He's somewhat offensive.
Yeah, I'd say somewhat offensive. I wouldn't say like fully offensive.
I wouldn't say no. Like, he's not like Eddie Murphy in the 80s.
He's gonna get away with some jabs for sure.
But yeah, he definitely for sure.
Yeah, and like he does it in a way where it's like you you can't help but laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And it's like musical comedy. It's like very similar to like Bo Burnham kind of thing, but like not as existential as Bo Burnham.
Boom. I can't believe if we talked about on my list, I have something that like I was like, I'm not gonna bring this up unless the opportunity shows itself, and now it just has.
Well,
since you bring up Bo
Stephen
Burnham,
Lynch and Bo Burnham, I feel like makes sense.
yes. First of all, Bo Burnham, I think we talked about him before, but like, oh man, up there with Lin-Manuel Miranda. What a fucking genius. Oh, I wanted to ask, do you consider? I mean, it wouldn't be a stage musical, but is Bo Burnham's Inside a musical?
I would say it's a hybrid. I wouldn't say it's one thing over the other.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say it's a musical over comedy or a comedy over musical.
His comedy specials like musical-esque.
Yeah, his comedy specials are definitely musical-esque, especially the ones where he does live performances.
Yeah.
Because it is on a stage and it is a show.
It is like a production.
Yeah,
like
a production.
There's like interactive elements.
Yeah.
And
I would say maybe it's more akin to like if you went to see an artist sing than a musical, especially since it's just a one-person show.
That's fair, yeah.
But yeah, it's there's a musicality for it or to it for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think? Like, do you think it's more musical?
Again, another hybrid. Don't really know how it fits the box.
Yeah, I feel like that's the point.
Deal.
It's not supposed to fit in the box.
Right.
Yeah. Like
yeah. That is kind of his thing. But I love Inside. Like to me, there's Inside and Hamilton in a way have a comparability to them, where it's just like they're both masterpieces in different ways.
And I think it's crazy because, like, was I the one that introduced you to Bo Burnham?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
I didn't really know Bo Burnham until you started.
And I watched Bo Burnham when he was on YouTube.
Yeah,
like
you're an OG fan. I wish I was I'm sure I'd seen him here and there, but I don't think I really knew him until
I followed him. So I love Bo Burnham when I was.
I think you showed me his comedy specials on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like What and Make Happy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Make Happy. Make Happy is great.
Yeah, but it's funny because like I had heard about Inside, and I think it had been like a week or so that it had been out that before I watched it, and I even asked you, I was like, hey, have you heard that Bo Burnham released something called Inside? And you're like, no, what? And then we watched it, and it not many. There's a handful of things in my life that I feel like are kind of like life defining, and I feel like I may consider Inside one of them because like
Inside's great, especially since it was in the middle of the pandemic.
Yes, exactly.
Like, and obviously that's kind of what Inside's about.
Yeah.
Being stuck inside.
Yeah, and like also like I think something about it was special to me as a creator, seeing him create all that stuff inside what appears to be a studio apartment, which is we're in a studio apartment right now. I'm just like, if he can do this, I can do this. And like, look at the creativity he has just with, I would say a few, but there's kind of a lot of lights that he has.
Yeah.
And a lot of equipment, but still like none of that overshadows the creativity that's at its core.
Yeah. And you see it, like, especially when you watch like the full special, not when you just listen to the songs, but when you watch the full special, you see like the frustration and like the aggravation that he also goes through. That this isn't an easy process,
Yeah, and I know that all too well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and especially like he released like the outtakes on YouTube like a year later.
Yeah.
And you see even more of that. You see him doing camera tests, setting up lighting, missing shots,
like
missing
the final
focus.
The final product is like amazing and great, but like it took a while to get there.
Yeah, and like I know a lot of people like may have just, I don't know, given up or maybe released something that wasn't as like polished or whatnot.
Yeah.
But no, he you can tell he holds himself to a certain standard.
Yeah, definitely. Especially being on a hiatus as long as he was.
Yeah, he took a break.
Yeah, I took a break for a while after Make Happy, which understandably so. Like, it was a mental health thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which he talks about in Inside.
That's a big part of it. And I just think it tackles so many issues in a way that's just so like real.
Yeah. And also, yeah, like you said, so many issues. It's not just like one thing, it's many things. It's like he talks about mental health, and then he also talks about like society, and
but
like,
also a lot of it's like self-critical too.
Yeah, it is self-critical. Yeah, for sure. And it critiques society.
Yeah, he has a whole song called Problematic where he explains how he's like problematic and like someone should hold him accountable. And
asking straight up, like, are you going to hold me accountable?
Yeah.
Because some of his stuff, and he's said this before, that like some of his older material, like many comedians, is like potentially problematic, and kind of like maybe taking jabs at things that people maybe wouldn't think is like as acceptable today as it was like back in 2005.
Right.
It's a different time, obviously, but
it was a different time.
Yeah. But I love that. I love Inside's an interesting hybrid, and Stephen Lynch does similar stuff with his comedy. And like Adam Sandler also does Adam Sandler is also like a traditional comedian, but he has done like music, like comedy as well. And so but Bo Burnham has always been a musical comedian.
Yes.
And so I think that's still a pretty relatively like underrated like way to have comedy, because like I feel like we could talk about Bo Burnham like for a really long time, but it's underrated that Bo Burnham isn't just a comedian, he's also a musician.
Yes.
And
a damn good one at that.
Yeah, like I feel like people they just see him playing the piano and it just being like, oh, he's doing it for the bit or whatever, but really he does know music.
Yeah. And what's funny is like I saw somewhere that he doesn't read sheet music.
Yeah.
And I think it's because like someone once like asked him for it and he said he didn't have it because he doesn't read sheet music, which means everything is like by ear. So that's just so impressive, because I don't know how much music theory he knows, but he obviously knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like enough to put together a whole like set.
To like compose and then produce and then perform.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Exactly. It really is. And it's like, and I feel like the music comes secondary like to his comedy, but it's also a big part of it. I always think that's very impressive. Like he's doing two things at once.
I think one of the most impressive things is how his music, his comedy, it lulls you into a false sense of security that like, oh, this is a funny little bit. And then once you're in there, boom, hits you.
Make Happy does that real
Yeah, he hits you with the serious stuff.
Because they talking about like the fucking Pringles can and like all this like non-serious shit, like Kanye selling his fucking t-shirts or whatever. And then he gets real with you, like hardcore real, like saying that like, he wants to please his audience, but like you're also like his worst enemy. And it's like in front of a real fucking audience.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this a bit? Is this not a bit? And it's not a bit. He's being real with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's crazy that, here's all this funny shit, but he has some real truth too.
Yeah. So I think it's a little unfortunate that like that may be the only way how some people like even get to that serious point. It's because like they're lured in with comedy at first, so they think, oh, this is gonna be lighthearted, this is gonna be great, and then it's like now he's got you.
It's like once
now listen to me.
Die down.
Now listen to what I have to say.
Yeah. And
this is important.
The ending to Make Happy is so sad, because it's like you literally like he drops his mic and he says, I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
But it's like even worse when you know behind it the guy's having a fucking panic attack. Like, and he said that in multiple interviews and even talked about that in Inside a little bit. It's like this dude is having a panic attack at the like literally at the expense of himself to make sure other people are happy. Like, holy fuck. You know?
Yeah, that I can't imagine the amount of pressure he must feel in that moment. So many factors. He knows, people are have paid money to see him, and
he
also
talks about that too.
Yeah, he's built up a reputation that he constantly needs to meet and or exceed.
Mm-hmm.
And he does meet and exceed them always.
Yeah, it's so true. And the funny thing about it is, like, he probably doesn't even think that he is. He thinks that, like, why are you watching me, listening to me? Like, why do I deserve this when other people are seemingly more deserving?
Yeah, right. When you compare yourself to, like,
yeah,
I don't know, people of other professions. Like,
exactly. But even so, like, I feel like a lot of entertainers have that imposter syndrome kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah.
like I forget what show it is. I don't know if it's What or if it's Make Happy, but he talks about, or it might even be an earlier show, but he talks about like, I wanted my name in lights, but I could have fed a family of 4 for 40 fucking fortnights.
Yeah.
And it's like he's like, what is all of this? Like, why do I get this? Like, he's just questioning the whole thing, the whole legitimacy of, like, everything here.
Yeah.
And that's a fascinating thing, that he's self-aware, because you just don't hear that.
He's self-aware of, like, the sort of imbalance of, like, how, like, yes, he may know his, like, worth, but it's just like he knows that, like, other people aren't getting what he's getting, and he feels that guilt.
Yeah, and he also feels like he's not any more special than other people.
Right.
Like,
whereas, I mean, I'm sure some people would disagree. I think
I would disagree too.
He's very special. Like,
I would feel like, like, he's right in the sense that, like, everybody is, like, deserving of a good life. Definitely. But
that includes him.
But yeah, that includes him. But Bo Burnham is incredibly intelligent, very obviously so.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, he doesn't, at least from his comedy, doesn't seem to think that it's all that important comparatively.
Yeah.
It's because you can see that power struggle in so much of his shows. Like, do I deserve this? Do I not deserve this? Like I want to do something good with what I can do, but it's like a power struggle back and forth. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, either way, I'm so grateful that Bo Burnham did release Inside, and
me too.
Did come back from hiatus and, like, was able to take some time for his mental health, and
yeah, that made me happy. I honestly thought he may have been somebody who didn't come back, but I remember, like, just, like, seeing Make Happy and being like, oh my God, this is it. Like, he's done.
Yeah.
Like, which understandably so, I get it. Like, performing live, and he talks about that in Inside too, how it might not be for him ever again, kind of thing. But this is kind of an in-between, an in-between medium.
Yeah.
Like, releasing a special without doing anything live.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember just being so sad for Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
And sad, like, that we would potentially never see him again, but sad that it drove him to that point.
Is it anyone's fault? I don't know.
It's hard. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, it's whose fault is it really? Like, because this is the system that he's obviously having to work in, and it's existential pressure combined with his own internal pressure.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't want to blame him, but, like, how can you? I guess you can blame the society as a whole, but it isn't. The pressure isn't necessarily, like, unique to Bo Burnham. It's it's like, every entertainer, I would imagine, feels a very similar kind of pressure, and so, like, it's one of those weird kind of, like, conundrums where you're like, who's at fault really? Like, is there anybody at fault?
I don't know, but it's just sad that, like, he had to go through that. Like
yeah.
art really is pain.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty evident in like most of the famous like writers or painters or really any artist really, like they were either high or drunk when they created most of their most important stuff. So, you're going through something, right? Like to have to self-medicate like that.
Yeah.
And especially I feel like stuff like the stuff that Bo Burnham does, because it is very existential and it like heavy stuff, it's heavy stuff wrapped in like the idea of like comedy. It's smart, it's witty, but at the end of the day, like there is a message,
Yeah.
like I guess for me, like that's the kind of comedy I prefer, like very smart, like self-aware kind of comedy.
Yes.
I don't necessarily like comedy for the sake of comedy or like a cheap joke. I like things that like make you think, but also can make you laugh at the same
Yeah.
time. And I don't know. I like thinking deeply about things, and Bo Burnham really does that. Like
Oh
makes you
yeah,
think.
for sure.
And like he can do it in a way that's funny, but also in a way that's also very intelligent.
Yeah.
Like intellectual.
Yeah, well, if you haven't seen Bo Burnham's Inside yet, please go watch it. Please go watch everything that Bo Burnham has done. Like,
Yeah,
it's
literally everything.
all amazing.
Go watch
I know this is
Hamilton.
I know this is a musical episode, but yeah, Inside may be one of those like hybrid ones. Let's end off on. I was gonna say favorite lyric from like a musical song, but how about like favorite lyric from like. I'll yell at a show and you tell me like a favorite lyric or one of your favorite lyrics. Let's start off with Rent.
With Rent, No Day But Today.
No Day But Today.
Yeah, another one would be in inches and miles, in cups of coffee, and then it just keeps going with like,
Well, mine would be Measure Your Life in Love.
Yeah, Measure Your Life in Love.
Mm-hmm. I like that one.
So many. There's so many in Rent. It's good.
Wicked.
So much of me is made from what I've learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart.
Oh, what song is that from?
For Good.
For Good. That's what it was. Mine would probably be Something Has Changed Within Me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Oh, that part always gets me.
Yeah, that part's great.
Oh, I'm just seeing this now. I can't believe I didn't spend more time on it, but I'm just gonna say briefly, West Side Story. Oh
yeah! Oh my God, we didn't even talk about West Side Story.
The new version, Steven Spielberg. Oh my God, I didn't think. I really went in being like, it can't. The original is just too much nostalgia there. There's too much of it just being the OG that I don't know. I may like this new version, but I don't know if it'll supersede it. I think it did.
Oh yeah,
I think it did.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
really, really good.
That's a great example of it. Sort of adding on to the original like source material, especially with like the added
I love that.
information about like how like the reason the Jets and the Sharks are fighting is because of I don't know, their homes are being taken away because they're being built for like new apartments or whatnot.
Yeah, that actually is interesting because that kind of echoes Rent. Rent is a little bit like that too, because like that's during that period in Rent, like the city is trying to like take it over to make it like a very like, yuppie kind of thing.
Yeah,
like a yuppie kind of place. And a very similar thing is happening, like gentrification, basically.
Yeah. It's great, and like just the casting is great. Everyone sounds so good, and it's like they've really just improved on it. Like, Steven Spielberg, thank you.
Yeah, he made a great adaptation.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those musicals, my core musicals that I grew up with, so it was really special to me. And then seeing it now,
yeah,
man, oh man, did I shed many a tear.
Yeah.
while watching it.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't even talk about like Sound of Music really. Like,
Yeah. Sound of Music was a core one for me too.
I like how some people, people have core memories. You have core musicals. I love that.
Yeah.
There's just too much.
I used to consider it over West Side Story. Now I might consider West Side Story
I would consider
over Sound of Music.
I would consider West Side Story over as well. Although I do love Sound of Music. It's very good. And
Yeah.
Julie Andrews is amazing.
It's funny because like the history element of it, I was not really too into just because
Love
like,
that.
just because like I was like, oh man, this is where like it gets kind of serious and gets kind of dark and like
That
whatever.
is
But
like my bread and butter.
So like when I saw your like extreme reaction to like liking that part of it, I was like, oh, that is a different perspective than mine. That is interesting.
That's one of the big reasons I love Anastasia. I love the blending of like real life and musicals because it's like the juxtaposition is so fun. It's so different. It's like, wow, really fun, fun musicals, great. Oh, Nazis are invading.
Tea, a drink with jam and bread.
Like, what the fuck?
And the Nazis are gonna take us.
Exactly. What the fuck?
If we don't leave right now.
It's literally in the middle of World War II. And they have
Get to the hills.
They have to escape through the hills.
We gotta run. Come on, little Gretel. Let's go.
Exactly. It's like, oh my god. Like, whoa, this took a serious turn. And you just don't see that shit in musicals. Like,
yeah, you don't.
You really don't. Like,
and
it's in Anastasia, but it's embedded into the show.
Yeah.
Where, like, this is like musical, fun, hard hit. We gotta leave.
Yeah.
It's like it knocks you out.
So like abrupt, kind of jarring. And like seeing it as a kid, like I obviously didn't understand the historical context behind it. So I just thought, oh, the bad men are here.
Yeah. I think like seeing I almost said West Side Story, seeing Sound of Music when I did, like in adulthood, I think was probably the better time for me to see it because I don't think I would have fully appreciated it like as a kid. But because I'm very interested in like World War II.
Yeah.
And the fact that this happens during that time period, it makes it even better for me. Like,
yeah, to see you like almost like see that as like your favorite element of it was like kind of like whoa. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I just like because it was so like interesting. Like I just said, that's something that's just no musical really does.
Yeah,
very very infrequently, and it just fascinated me that they made that decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to West Side Story. Favorite lyric. It doesn't have to be your favorite lyric, just a favorite lyric.
A favorite lyric. Why can I not think of any lyrics?
It's okay because I'm trying to think too, and now I'm just like I'm going through the songs in my head and being like,
I know.
What's a good one? While you're thinking, I'll sing mine.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's a favorite lyric. I don't know if it's the favorite lyric, but I think my favorite song is Tonight. Tonight, it all began tonight. I saw you and the world went away. Oh, that song, it just swells my heart with joy. And the whole musical does, even the sad parts. Maria.
Yeah.
Just met a girl named Maria.
I feel pretty. I feel like you have to say that
and
one.
Gay.
Yeah, I feel pretty and witty and gay.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the most iconic one. And also, like till I saw West Side Story, didn't know that song was from a musical. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, like because you just hear it so frequently in movies.
I guess. Well, I mean, obviously. This being a core musical for me, like I always knew it was West Side Story.
Like that was one of those things where like I didn't even recognize that was.
Is this like did you not know that My Favorite Things was from
No,
Sound
I didn't
Music?
know that either.
That's another one.
Yeah, that was another one where I was like,
well, that's such a Christmas song.
It is such a Christmas song. Yeah, like that you hear that during Christmas all the time, even though it's like obviously in the movie in the stage musical not a Christmas song at all, but you know,
but
it just
it's been Christmasified.
it just fits. Yeah.
Okay. How about Sound of Music?
Sound of Music.
A favorite lyric.
I actually have a hard time pinpointing like my favorite song in Sound of Music.
Mm-hmm. How about we'll start there. Like maybe like one of your favorite songs, and then we'll go into that like a favorite lyric from that song.
Oh, I really liked Maria. I just think they're just kind of funny because all the nuns are throwing shade at her. Like
She climbs a tree
Yeah.
and scrapes her knee.
Yeah,
Dress
exactly.
has got a tear.
Yeah, like they're all like, "What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with Maria?" Like everyone's like pissed off at her. It's just really funny. I think it's an interesting way to introduce her character.
Yeah, it is. I'll share mine. I think I really like her kind of solo song. I have confidence in confidence alone.
Yeah.
Inside what you see, I have confidence in me.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's like, I think kind of underrated, honestly.
It is.
Because I didn't really remember that until now.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of Sound of Music songs are very like iconic in a lot of ways, but also like they work with other things enough that like you don't necessarily just tie it directly back to Sound of Music, if that makes sense. Like everybody knows Defying Gravity is wicked.
Yeah.
You know, but like My Favorite Things, like I don't think that's very like, if you didn't know Sound of Music, you wouldn't necessarily assume it was Sound of Music.
You'd assume probably with like Christmas.
Yeah. Even like Do Re Mi too.
Really?
Yeah, because like Do Re Mi gives me Mary Poppins vibes, because like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Well, there's a bit of a crossover there.
Yeah, it is a bit of a crossover there.
Mary Poppins is
Julie
Maria.
Andrews. Yeah, so makes
Fräulein
sense.
Maria. What would you say is your favorite song from The Sound of Music?
Yeah, probably Maria.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Maria's good. I also like 16 Going on 17, but not because I actually like the song. I just like how it's interesting how sexist the song is.
Oh. I like it because it's sexist.
It's like, I don't like that it's sexist, but it's like, it's very just telling of the times.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
it's like it's an interesting historical kind of like song in that context.
Yeah. Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God.
You guys. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, you guys.
Looks like I was gonna win the prize. Yeah, I'm definitely looking this one up. Gay or European?
Is he gay or European?
But they're right there. Yeah. Because it's like, that one's just so funny. I love that one. There's so many that Legally Blonde though that are really, really good.
Yeah. What you want is right in front of you.
Yeah, that one's good too.
What you want. Anastasia. For me, it's got to be the song I referenced before, In My Dreams, specifically the part where it's like, in my dreams, it's all real, and my heart has so much to reveal, and my dreams seem to say, don't be afraid to go on, don't give up hope, come what may. I know it all will come back one day. Dun 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 dun. Bum. Tears.
That one's so good. I get that. Similarly, like it's hard because there's so many good songs. Because I love My Petersburg, but I think my favorite song in Anastasia.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is In a Crowd of Thousands.
Oh, that's probably number 2 for me.
Yeah, it's so good because it's just like,
it was June. I was 10.
I still think of that day now and then. A parade
And a girl.
Yeah. And a crowd of thousands.
In that crowd of thousands.
It's just like, it paints such a nice picture. Like, you can see it.
It does. And like, I don't know, just musically, it sounds
It's
so
so
sweet.
pretty.
Ah.
And I love the part where he's like, where Anastasia's like explaining like her side of it.
Yeah.
And then she remembers like a real life part of what happens. And she's saying like, I tried not to smile but I smiled and he bowed.
Yeah.
Because like Dimitri's like chasing her down, and then Dimitri's like, I didn't tell you that. And she's like, I didn't have to. You didn't have to. Like, I remember. Like, that was me.
Could you imagine though if she was just another girl just next to him?
Yeah.
She wasn't actually Anastasia. She just remembers that moment being like, whoa, this kid's like dodging guards to like see the Princess Anastasia.
Yeah. That'd be really funny, but no, it's really her. Like, that's like, that to me is like such a great reveal, because it's like obvious like throughout the whole show, like, you know, she's Anastasia, but Dimitri doesn't know she's Anastasia, right? And like this whole time he's trying to like it's a huge con basically. Like, he thinks, oh, it's just some random girl that looks like her, doesn't actually think it's her, but then realizes in this moment is her. Like, and it's just, he's surprised, she's surprised. It's a very surprising moment, and it's just very like, it pays off. It's great. Yeah. Way better than the movie, I would say. Like,
isn't that funny how like, movie to musical is better, musical to movie. Yeah. Musical. It's so different. Better. I guess musical stays being better.
Yes. So good.
All right. Big hitter.
Oh. Is it Hamilton? Oh my God. I think you might know the song I'm going to pull from.
Oh shit.
Do you know?
I don't know if I know.
You don't know if you know? I don't know if I know yours.
Mine is probably I'm not throwing away my shot.
Mine's probably I am the one thing in life I can control.
Oh, fuck, that's a good one.
I am an inimitable, I am an original.
Ah, that's such a good one.
Yeah, it's such a good one. That's, if I was gonna get like a Hamilton tattoo, I think it would be something in that. Yeah.
Dang.
It would definitely be like something in Wait for It for sure. It's like really, really good.
Actually, I think this might be my favorite lyric is I'm a general. Wee!
I know, yeah, it's so funny. Or it's like or anything King George says basically. Like
John Adams. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, you'll be back.
Soon you'll see.
But yeah, General John Adams.
That's that little guy who spoke to me all those years ago. What was it? 25. That poor man, they're going to eat him alive. Yeah. Good luck. Like, awesome. Wow.
King George is just great.
Oh my God.
That, like, anything King George says is so funny.
Oh,
Hamilton's too good though. Like, there's too many good ones.
It is. Oh.
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
So fucking good.
Yeah. Like so many. So like, I can't even express in words like how good like musicals are, and like just how many there are, and just how they're all wonderful, and it just there's too much goodness.
Yeah.
Like I can't even express the impact.
Yeah. I mean, I understand musicals aren't for everyone, but I'm sorry. You are missing out for sure.
Yeah, I would say that too. Like, and I understand like it isn't for everybody, but it's just like there's something about it that's so special.
It's like enriching for your soul.
Yeah,
somehow.
I would agree. I would so agree that like there's just nothing like a night of theater. You know?
Yeah, I know that sounds, a little fancy, a little highfalutin, but kind of posh, still,
but yeah,
it's
great.
It's just magical to me.
It really is. It's just, and I love that like we both love musicals, because it's just something that not only that we can like share in like and have a hobby like together, but it's just like nice to have somebody else that understands like that kind of like magnificence and the beauty of like a stage production, and just all the hard work. Yeah, all the hard work that goes into him.
Yeah,
and it's just so great.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm not gonna say I know all the ins and outs, but like I have been on both sides of the stage.
Yeah, and you can certainly appreciate it.
Yeah,
I've never like been in a production, but I can imagine the like how difficult it is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure. It's like it is literally this. It's a live movie
yeah.
and no cuts, one take, one long continuous take. You mess up, you mess up. You got to move on. You can't.
Yeah. You mess up
Can't
or you
retake
ad-lib it, or that was a cool moment in Anastasia, actually. I don't know if you remember when they had to like they just kind of were like improving basically. The Countess and
The Countess and the Common Man.
Yeah, exactly. That scene, like they improved a lot of that. Yeah.
That's another thing too. Another element, like improving. Oh,
Yeah, that was really, really cool.
yeah. It's again that live element that you just won't get from like a movie or whatnot.
Or even the like songs like on the Broadway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another slight difference, like I guess that makes Hamilton kind of special, is that most Broadway like shows that aren't like that. Like aren't like you can basically listen to all the music and get the gist of the story. Hamilton, you can basically get the whole damn story.
Yeah.
You know, where like in Wicked, there's definitely parts that are just spoken word. You know, it's not sung. And you can get the general gist of Wicked by listening to the songs, but there is quite a bit of just like spoken like words in there too that you gain from that as well. Like there's more context and stuff. But Hamilton's not like that. Hamilton's like, you can get the whole damn story.
Yeah, you can get all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the whole story is history anyway, so
yeah,
but still.
Yeah, you know from the get-go what's about to happen.
Yeah.
There's nothing to really be spoiled about.
Yeah. Actually, like the first fucking song is like is kind of in a way a spoiler. It's like you know what happens at the end and the very beginning.
Yeah, because Bird goes, and I'm the damn fool that shot him.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like just showing what you're in for, basically.
Yeah, like the first song is like if it were to summarize the entire musical, like right there.
It's basically a summary, but it's a summary of Hamilton's life, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, the real person's life. So it's like that. Hamilton's also interesting in that way, where it's like you can't really have spoilers because it's like hundreds of years of not obviously like some things are like not 100% historically accurate, but a lot of it is relatively accurate.
It's more like you won't get spoiled on like plot stuff, but it's nice to be surprised on how they tell the story.
Yeah,
that's
for
where
sure.
the sort of surprise comes in.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, but I have selfishly saved this last one for myself. Obviously, have to end on The Wedding Singer.
The Wedding
favorite
Singer.
Song, favorite lyric, anything. Hit me with it. While I
come out of the dumpster.
Oh, you really like that song.
That's why
it is strangely endearing.
It is endearing. I like it. That's like a metaphor.
So your first day back wasn't all you anticipated. I bet the best man, the bride had to be sedated.
Yeah. I like the
metaphor.
Yeah, the metaphor.
The metaphor is good.
Metaphor.
Yeah.
That's really good. Also, Somebody Kill Me Please is hysterical. Somebody kill me please. Oh, it's just so
I'm on my knees. Pretty please. Kill me. I wanna die.
Yeah. It's like really cringe, but it's also like you relate to the angst. Like it's great.
I like how when Stephen Lynch did it, like it sounded musically, like from a musical, and like even though he does have that rage there,
the rage is definitely there.
like it's still sung, whereas like in the movie when Adam Sandler does it, it's borderline screamo.
Yeah. Yeah. Both are good, but different. You know?
Yeah, it looks like he's about to hurt his voice.
Yeah. Like he's like really straining his vocal cords.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's so good.
My favorite lyric has to be "Love is what I do," like I said
Yeah.
before. But yeah, I obviously the classic, the big hitter from the movie "Grow Old with You." Just that entire song is
It's so good.
chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I wanna make you smile whenever you're sad. Carry you around when your arthritis is bad. Oh, all I wanna do is grow old with you. I wanna grow old with you, baby.
I love you, baby.
I love you, baby.
Will you sing at my wedding?
Dun 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 dun. Yes.
Or no, depending on which one.
Depending on where you are in the show.
Depending on where you are in the show. Which song are you on? Depends. It takes a minute for him to get there. That's great.
And scene. So I may or may not have cried about 3 times trying to write this because goddamn Adam Sandler. But anyway, I wanted to take us out on an appropriate note. I hope you like this. Shout out to Pianothek, I hope I'm saying that right, on YouTube for this, well, you'll see. I wanna talk about my feelings even if I'm sad. And if it resonates with you, then I'll be glad that I started this podcast for me and you. From fucking laser stories to my panic attacks, all my success and all I still lack. Oh, I'll speak my truth on this podcast with you. Thanks for listening to me. Keep on wandering with me.